All right, it looks like we are live. We are calling to order the Monday, June 26th, 2023 meeting of the Sustainable BC Committee. It is 1:33 p.m. We could just go around just to introduce, just to say who we have here. That would be great. I am Andy Humboldt, community volunteer and former city commissioner, chairing the committee. Who else do we have? Bob?
Can you say where you're zooming in from, please?
Oh, sorry. Yes. I'm zooming in from my home in the city of Battle Creek.
And I am Bob Gilbert. Like Andy, I'm a community volunteer, and I am zooming in from my office in Battle Creek.
Thanks, Bob. And then Bessie and whoever you have there.
Yep. Bessie's
super long
here
lens.
with the city of Battle Creek, zooming in from DPW in the environmental department. And we have this is our guest here, Steve Skalski. Yep.
Steve Skalski, DPW director, zooming in with us.
Hi, Steve. Welcome.
Thanks.
All right, we don't have a quorum to approve the minutes, so we'll skip that. So I guess Bessie, just we'll start down your list of reports and updates and whatnot, whichever ones you can handle.
Yep. Let's see. So going down the agenda, Battle Creek received gold rating again for the Michigan Green Community Challenge. So thanks to all of our department heads and all the people that were involved with that. Kurt has been working on getting sheep in our stormwater ponds, so to kind of keep the weed control down. So he's got more details on that, but that's pretty cool. We have a Canoe the Kazoo paddling event coming up July 8th. That's going to be here in the city of Battle Creek. You can register at bcwater.org or kalamazooriver.org. We're gonna put it at Emmett Street Bridge and float down towards Hand Map Brewing. So we are asking for experienced kayakers and those who have their vessels, because we did get a little rain today, but I am thinking there's going to be some walking involved through that path. So we had, let's see, on May 31st, I spoke to the Aquinas Club, about 20 plus people, just giving them updates on our programs, and they help us with the Children's Water Festival. They help sponsor that, so it's nice to touch base with them, and they also like to volunteer for cleanups and things like that. On June 21st, me and Kaylin, our intern, went to Charlotte to do a science adventure camp. There we spoke to about 70 kids. We used the Enviroscape, so that was fun. We spent a day doing that. Earth Week continues. We have volunteers coming in quite often to grab trash bags here at DPW. And it's been pretty consistent. So it's been pretty exciting. Now that we promote, come in and get your trash grabbers, we'll sign that stuff out to you, and you go, have at it and let us know where you leave your trash bags. Let's see. The Children's Water Festival was successful. I had over 700 kids this year. So that was pretty cool. Our intern Kaylin's been working on some new activities for next year, so it's pretty exciting. I think she's designing a board game. So we're looking at designing our own, like, Candyland, so to speak, board game with, environmental questions, water related questions that the kids will do in class. So that'll be kind of fun. What else? Patty and Kaylin have been attending the farmers market on Wednesdays intermittently. They've had pretty good turnouts. I think they've talked from anywhere from between like 80 to 100+ people. So we do plan on attending, I think maybe 1 or 2 more times. And then we'll probably call it good for the season. On April 24th, so the day that we canceled to help Sarah with her event, I know she's not here today, but I think she's seen over 700 participants at that Bailey Park recycling event. So that was pretty amazing to be a part of. Pretty exciting. So that's pretty much what I have in the quickness of it. I know we were gonna ask, well, that's in other business, so we're gonna ask Steve to introduce himself properly, but if I'll let you if you want him to do that now, Andy, then we can do that now.
Well, let's just stick with this list for now.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that there's other things on this list that aren't in your in your wheelhouse.
Right.
Okay. That we were hoping to have.
Yeah, I don't have a
Patty.
lot of information on the first the grant application process and the forestry management. That's more Patty and Kurt. And more details on the stormwater ponds too, Patty and Kurt. On the facility energy audits, that's Patty and Kurt. So, there's Sarah's there now and Kathy. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Kathy and Sarah. Could we just pause and could the two of you just introduce yourselves and where you're zooming from?
Sure. Kathy Antea, zooming from Battle Creek.
Sarah Lundy, zooming from Marshall at the county building.
Thanks, Sarah. While we have you, Sarah, do you have any updates or reports or updates from your neck of the woods?
I guess I could just add, I don't know what they've said, but Reclaim Synergy in Springfield is now taking cardboard Monday through Thursday in the morning. So if that is news to people, that did happen. I talked with the gentleman that's kind of managing the facility at the Michigan Recycling Coalition Conference in May. And so he agreed to extend the hours and days that they take the material there. And he did say that he hoped to, in the near future, be able to take a few more items. So hopefully that'll help some people out in your area.
do you have the hours on that, Sarah?
I think right now it is Monday through Thursday, and I think it's 9:30 to 11:30.
Okay.
It's in that range. I don't have the flyer like out with me right now.
Okay.
Oh, Kathy.
Go ahead, Kat.
Sorry, I was giddy with excitement because I went there the other day. Again, 9 to 11:30. I'm like, holy crap, and I'm rushing around. And I get there, and there are 2 big black bins right by their office trailer, which is outside of their fence. And talked to a nice guy who said, yeah, we try and keep these bins emptied all the time. So virtually 24/7, you can drop off your cardboard. And I had a truckload literally, and I, hardly filled one of the bins. So the dirty secret is you can recycle anytime.
I'm glad.
And
'Cause I know-
where is this place?
It's next to Binky Trucking. It's on Bishop in Springfield. I think isn't it 101 Bishop?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's
So that's right off Bedford Road or right off
Yeah.
Helmer.
yeah, and it's Harmonia is the street on the west side, and then Bishop or whatever Sarah was saying is the one on the east side.
Right.
It's a dead end road. You're thinking you're going nowhere, and it's the last stop on the right.
Gotcha. Yeah, Binky's in there, and there's a few other things up in there. And right. Well, that's cool. Kathy and Sarah, we were just going through, or Bessie was going through the updates that she had line of sight to. Kurt is on vacation. A couple of these things are in his wheelhouse, and Patty was here, but apparently Eagle was on the phone and mad at Patty or something, and she had to go run and talk to you. No, I don't know whether they're mad. Bessie just said she had to take a call from Eagle. Probably some sort of congratulatory. Oh my gosh, you're Patty from Battle Creek. Battle Creek is awesome. We want to talk to you. It was probably that kind of call. That'd be more likely. I assume. I was really hoping to learn more about the sheep in the stormwater ponds. That I thought that was the highlight of the list. I mean, yeah, gold rating again. Yeah, you know, we're just getting used to that, but you know, and I'm sure, you know, we definitely would love to hear about, you know, grant funding for building this greenhouse gas inventory. That you all and you know, Bob's been helping with that, and that's going to be a key part moving forward of how we measure progress and success in the plan. So it's at least, without knowing any details, it's at least good that that's a front to be working on. Bessie, do you know anything about what the quote unquote recycling challenge is? Like, what is that, like an idea for educational video or something?
Yeah, and Kathy will know more about this too. We roped her and another Battle Creek resident in, Lynn Crap, and they're going to go head to head basically on who's recycling better, right? So I believe it's the same company that did an audit on our stuff. And so they want a filming opportunity. So details are coming with that, you know, when they're going to start that. But Kathy and Lynn are two competitors there.
So what, they're gonna like wheel up to Kathy's house on recycling day and dump out her bin and see
I think
how well?
so. Yeah, essentially.
That's
What I'm looking for, I'm looking for really funny things to have in that bin on the day they dump it out, right? You know, stuff like, yeah, I thought I could recycle this, right? Those kinds
you're gonna purposely lose for the goal of educating the public, aren't you, Kathy? You're
for
gonna
the
throw
good
it.
of the community.
You're gonna throw it to
I'm a
Lynn.
loser.
Lynn's is gonna be perfect, and yours is gonna be all kinds of right. I see you.
There'll be hoses in there and, you know, wire hangers and everything will be individually packaged in plastic bags, and you know, it's going to be great.
Extra points if they have to beep out anything you say and you storm off afterward.
Yeah.
Extra points from the Andy scoring system. Like, you know, Jessica will be annoyed, but
she'll get over it. Right?
Yeah.
And I just want to thank my environmentally tree hugging friends for nominating me for this honor. So thank you so much, Patty and Bessie. You'll get yours.
You're most welcome.
All right. If memory serves this, I believe that's the mayor's phone number that joined us. Mark, is that you? Or not? Is that someone else? And I'm making that up. The 924-8022. I don't know. It's someone.
I asked them to unmute Andy, so I'm not sure. I think that is the mayor. Maybe he stepped away.
Yes, it is.
All right, Mark, could you real quick just identify yourself and where you're zooming from?
Zooming from Cafe Tel.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's still only 6 of us. All right, then, unless anyone else have any other questions or comments or whatnot for Bessie? Other than we all want to know more about the sheep in the stormwater ponds thing, you know, I guess it's fairly easy to picture, but I'm like, whose sheep are they? What are they gonna do? How's it all gonna, anyway?
Do they float? Do they float? I mean, what happens when the pond, the water retention rises?
I'm assuming they're transient sheep that someone brings them, someone rides and Ubers them in or something, and they spend a little while, you know, like munching down the growth, and then, you know, if that one's flooded that day, maybe they just move on. But it's awesome.
Is it
I'll-
gonna be publicized when this happens? Like, could people come see this? Or are they keeping it secret?
I don't,
Well-
Bessie, do you know anything else about this shit?
I don't know a lot. I think
Okay.
a lot of the details are being ironed out, you know, we are. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I don't know a lot of the details with it, so.
No, that's fine. All right, then let's
Oh,
move on.
Patty's here, Andy.
Oh, Patty's here. All right.
Hi, sorry about that. I can tell you a little bit about the sheep. So,
Yes.
Kurt has contacted someone who does this, that rents out their sheep for maintenance, and the same group has used them at the Southwest Michigan Land Conservancy. So they've been out, you know, he knows this stuff, and I think they were maybe 4 or 5 ponds, storm ponds, that they were thinking about putting them in. So we're kind of hung up right now with the contract, but I think that's moving ahead. I think I saw that there was a contract, but there was some fencing that needed to be repaired, and that's getting worked on too. So I think it could be pretty close to having them out there. And I think the idea was they'd be out like 3 times a year. So it's not going to be a super manicured look, but you know, they come out and they spend a week or so and mow it down, and then they move them to a different pond and bring them out a few times during the season just to clean it up.
That's awesome. And so I assume that then that would be in lieu of some human maintenance work that would have to be done.
Exactly. And a couple of them are just so, they're so steep and just really hard to access that they really haven't been maintained much at all as far as mowing. So and apparently they don't mind eating a lot of the invasives. And so, yeah, try it out and see how it works.
So they're not only replacing, but also possibly even an improvement in like they're better at it. They've evolved to do such work.
Right, but you know, again, we were warned it's not going to be super manicured looking.
No.
Yeah, they'll keep it in check. So.
Right. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Go ahead, Kathy.
I have to ask, because I've heard about goats doing this. They use goats over at Albion College along the riverbank. Is there a particular reason why not goats, or sheep versus goats, or this is what they got?
This is what this person had, that Kurt's contact, and Sarah Lundy could probably speak on goats a whole lot better than me, but I know like in solar farms, I've been hearing they've been going with sheep more than goats because goats climb quite a bit more than sheep do. Sheep are just a little more docile, I guess, but Sarah could probably add to that.
Well, in part, it might even be what they want removed. So sheep are more of a grazer and goats are browsers. And so if you have like shrubs that you want cut back, goats would be great for that. But if you're looking at mostly grass, that's more of a sheep.
Thank you.
Makes sense. All right. What else from the list, Patty? Bessie kind of went through the bullets that were in her
Okay.
in her pocket, but anything
Okay.
else?
So, yep, we got the Michigan Green Communities Challenge gold
I did
again
that
this
one.
year. Oh, you already did that one? Oh, the circled ones. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, I just wanted to mention that again, but no. So we put in a application to the Battle Creek Community Foundation for, I'm forgetting the number now. It was like maybe $8,000 or $9,000 for a community-wide greenhouse gas inventory. And the reason Bob had helped us with some of that with our transit, but it was super labor intensive, and to do that on our own, I don't feel like we can replicate it to compare it to other communities too. So we are looking to have this inventory done by a group that does this for a lot of municipalities. Grand Rapids has used them, Ann Arbor, Holland. And they work nationwide. So the idea was that they could do it with their technique, their methodology, and then we could replicate it year to year to see how we're doing for tracking our greenhouse gas inventory. A lot of our sustainability plan, a lot of our metrics are based on a baseline, and we don't have a baseline. So if we are going to see improvements or changes, we have to have that baseline done, and to have it done by a group that does this for other cities. And I think that was the way to go. So we've just put in a grant application. I'm going to meet with the Community Foundation tomorrow. And then it'll be a few months before we know if we got that, but that's kind of the thought on that.
So does community in this sense mean other entities besides the city, or are we just talking within the city government?
It will be other entities. So that's kind of, they kind of take into account, they'll do it more intensively with the city because we have access to our utility bills, but
Sure.
We really wanted a community one because Grand Rapids found that the city contribution was really a small fraction of the emissions. And so if we're gonna make any gains on this, we have to involve everybody and not just the city buildings, because we can do what we can do, but it's a community initiative. So yep, that they will do the greater Battle Creek area, and I don't know the boundaries of that yet, so.
Okay. Yeah, anything else from the list? I know we've kind of skipped over the energy audits and the forestry. I think
Yes,
Betsy
the
kind of
energy
covered
audits,
everything else.
we had consumers out looking at some of our highest consuming buildings, a month or two ago, and they just did a quick walkthrough of Full Blast, City Hall, DPW, and wastewater, and Verona. And they were looking at some things that we could do for rebates and energy efficiency. So Full Blast appeared to be the one where we could have the best gains. So they're working with Duska on some improvements there, and some rate changes too, to help the city save some money on some going with a different rate structure. And then Semco came out, and they were talking about some things we could do here at DPW and some other facilities. It was the heat absorption. I don't know a whole lot about it, but they came out about a week or two ago. So we're making some strides there, hopefully. In forest management, that's really kind of Kurt's thing, but we have had the forester come out and they've identified some areas that they're going to do a timber harvest. It's the area north of Jackson and just to the east of Stringham. So it's kind of tucked in back there. So, and so they've marked some trees and have some, I think we're at the point where we'll have some, the tree companies come out and give us some costs and make some bids on tree removal. And so that's all I really know about that right now.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments or curiosities regarding the update list? All righty then. Then let's give Steve some time to introduce himself, and we can, just whatever you want to say about yourself and how you see your role, Steve, and give us a chance to ask questions as they come up, and welcome.
Oh, well, thanks for having me here. Steve Skalski, Director of Public Works here at Battle Creek. I think I just passed 4 months on the job, so it's been a exciting time during my time here at Battle Creek. It's always seemed to be something coming up, some sort of emergency popping up. So it's been a busy 4 months here. It's gone by real quick. So I came here from Kalamazoo, was water superintendent over there. I've been a civil engineer for 25 years. So yeah, I've during my time here, I've gotten to know a lot of the people here, and they've been very welcoming and very good to work with. So very happy coming over here.
Very good. I guess my first question, my question comes to mind would be, are there things, coming over from Kalamazoo and you sort of getting to know the lay of the land here, is there any sort of like low hanging fruit stuff that you're bringing from Kalamazoo, stuff that was going on over there where you're hitting the ground here and like, oh, we could, over here, you guys really need to be doing X, Y, or Z. We were just doing this in Kalamazoo, and it was, those kinds of things.
Well, to be honest, my focus while I was in Kalamazoo was pretty much with water. So a lot of the stuff is fairly new to me. I've dealt with it over the course of my career and bits and pieces, but never as in depth here. So one thing I've noticed, the group here is very professional about how they work, and I'm trying to right now I'm trying to see where I fit in and not make too many waves and just sit back and observe for the most part to see how things are going. They got a machine that's running here, and I don't want to throw a wrench into it needlessly. So that's been my way I've been operating here since I've gotten here. I've butted in where I've needed to, but for the most part, I haven't had to do that too often.
All right, very good. Other folks have questions or curiosities for Steve? Go ahead, Bob.
Hi, Steve. I'm Bob Gilbert. I don't know if you were here when we announced, but I'm just a community volunteer. But I was curious, when you were over in Kalamazoo, does Kalamazoo have a sustainability committee or something equivalent to that? And did you ever interact with them in your role?
I would guess they probably did. I don't think I didn't have much involvement with it. I don't remember having any involvement with it over there. So
They have something called like what is it? They meet periodically and it's all citizens. Gosh, what do they call that group? I don't know, but I know they do have a similar group, but I don't know if it's like working off a plan or if they just get together and talk about things that are.
I don't know.
I don't think it's city, like there's not city employees though, right? It's like a citizen group.
I think it is a citizen group. Yeah. So. But I do know Kalamazoo has a lot of money from some donors, right?
Yeah, they have a couple of endowments for various things, and dealing with some normally unfunded items. They prioritize some things with the it's not the Kalamazoo Promise Foundation for Excellence. That's
Okay.
Foundation for Excellence that takes care of some projects that would normally go unfunded, work on sidewalks, cleaning up parks, that sort of stuff. They request money for that work and are able to get some additional things done. So that is one nice thing they have over there.
Steve, did you say how long were you with Kalamazoo and you were the superintendent, the water superintendent? Is that what you said you were? And
yeah, that was my last position there. I've worked for the city of Kalamazoo for 18 and a half years overall, just short of 3 years, from 2000 to 2003. And then I left to go work for Allegan County Road for 4.5 years and came back in 2007. I worked as a senior civil engineer in the doing street and bridge and trailway focused projects for quite a few years. And got an opportunity to delve into water. And in 2012, I was put in charge of engineering for the water system over there, and became the assistant city engineer for the water resources group in 2015. And then in 2021, I was given the superintendent role as well. And just to diversify myself a little bit more on the water side.
I see.
So
During that time, like when you were with the water division, did you notice that, like, were they doing any kind of efficiency improvements? I think if I'm not mistaken, Kurt has told us, Patty, you know more about this than I do, but we've the city has invested in some high efficiency pump motors and things like that. I just wondered if, Steve, if you had noticed any kind of improvements, efficiency improvements in the water system over there during your time.
well, the Kalamazoo water system was kind of a little bit neglected, to be honest, for a number of years. They didn't the previous management had focused on keeping the rates down as opposed to keeping up with the infrastructure needs. And when I moved into the water side, that was one of the first things I noticed, and that there was just a lack of funding for what needed to get done. So I pushed for a lot of improvements, upgrading the pumps and motors to include soft starts and variable frequency drives to reduce energy costs. We had a push to install natural gas generators on site capable of running the station. So when rates are down on gas, you could turn on the generators and run off of gas power as opposed to electric.
Oh, yeah.
So those were some of the ideas that we were pushing forward with, and I was a big part of a lot of that over there.
Okay. Okay, good. So you probably could have some ideas for the city of Battle Creek as well. So
Yeah.
Welcome, Steve. Thanks for answering my questions.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any other questions or whatnot for Steve? Go ahead, Kathy.
Hi, Steve. Welcome to Battle Creek. Like Bob, I too am a resident volunteer on this committee. I'm curious, is there any, not that you're necessarily going to change the way everything's going, and obviously you are paying attention to the good stuff that's going on here, but do you see any particular focus for your department now that you're in the big chair?
Not really just yet. It's like I said, it's been more of a learning process for myself, observing how the Battle Creek operates. They're a little different setup than Kalamazoo was, as far as where everybody's how the organization structure is. But yeah, it's been a lot of watching and observing, trying to see where I fit in. Most of what I'm trying to get involved with right now is the areas that I didn't really have a big part of in my previous work experience. I mentioned that I focused in on streets and roads and trailways in my younger career as an engineer, and then water most recently. I've had some interactions in the traffic area, but not very much. And it also is wastewater. I've not had a whole lot of experience in there, so I've been trying to get more involved with those areas to see how they work, see how they function, see where I fit in there too. So those are going to be kind of my big focus areas going forward for probably the next several months here.
Thank you. And I do have to mention as well that DPW has always been a huge friend to the community gardens in town. And we appreciate your continued service to the multiple community gardens, people trying to grow their own food. So thank you.
Well, we will continue to do what we can.
All right, thanks, Kathy. Anything else for Steve? All right, well, let us go back then. We do have, there's 7 of us here now, or Mark, did you have something?
The only thing I wanted to, are you there, Andy?
Yep.
Okay, the only thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that there's a movement on the commission for an ordinance change to allow ducks in neighborhoods. And I've yet to see any of the new legislation on that. But one of our commissioners was approached by some neighbors that received a citation for allowing their children to have ducks. So I believe there'll be support to amend our ordinance to allow ducks. And maybe I can bring it to you before we have it come to the commission floor. And I also know that there may be an amendment to allow bees in some type of form. I'm not sure, but it's being requested that bees be allowed to. So that's good news for the committee or bad news?
It sounds like good news to me personally. You know, I know it's been what, 10 years or so since we did the chicken ordinance. So I'm assuming that the ducks and bees would be sort of building on to that.
Correct.
Allowing folks to have those sort of, to keep those animals in appropriately sized and positioned lots and whatnot.
Right. And then we recently amended the ordinance to allow another 25 chicken licenses. So we're up to 50 now.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mayor.
No problem. That's all I have to report today.
Okay. All right, then let us do the minutes then. Lisa, just as the meeting was starting, emailed them out. Looks pretty straightforward. Recap of the conversation. We do have 7 regular members here now. So if we could have someone have a motion to approve the February minutes.
I motion.
All right, moved by Patty. Is there support?
I'll support.
Moved by Patty and supported by Bessie to approve the February 2023 minutes of the Sustainable BC Committee. Any questions or comments on the minutes? All right, then those in favor, please say aye or make an affirmative sign. All right, any opposed? All right, then I'm seeing unanimous support for the approval of those minutes. Thank you all. All right, then that was the extent of our specific agenda business. I will pause and ask if there's any public comments. There's not anyone. We don't have any guests or anything other than Steve on the meeting.
We don't know. We don't have any extra folks waiting to make comment today, Andy.
All right. Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
All right, then any other committee comments or announcements or questions that you've thought of about any of the reports or anything here? Go ahead, Kathy.
May I ask Mayor Banky a question?
You can ask. We'll see what happens.
Thanks. Thanks, Mark, for bringing up lifting up the ordinance changes that are potentially coming up. Wondering, have you seen anything about the city staff looking into amending the size requirement for community gardens.
I'm not sure if he's there. I know he's unmuted, but so what do you mean? Is there currently the rules that you have? Your lot has to be, the lot has to be a certain size for you to be able to use it to garden?
Correct. There's a size limitation for a lot to be designated, an empty lot to be designated a community garden. And I put in a request, and this kind of seems like it's part of Sustainable Battle Creek, so I feel okay talking about it.
Yeah, we're good.
There literally is a family that bought a lot, and it's a few 100 feet shy of the limit or the minimal size needed. And once you get community garden designation, you're allowed to do certain things on that lot, even though it's empty, that you would not be able to do otherwise. Like putting in a shed and other stuff. Anyways, I had put in a request with 2 or 3 of the city commissioners to raise up this question with city staff. But of course, I've already spoken to a bunch of city staff people. They're probably sick of seeing me in their office. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I've been very pleasant and very professional. And I've talked to the multiple people in the city staff, and they're like, sure, they were looking into it for me and told me, and they said, you need to request from the commissioners to ask us to do something about it. So that's what I did. And I just wondered if Mayor Benke had heard any of Scuttlebutt, or if I should re-request of the commissioners.
Okay, yeah, I'm not hearing from him, so maybe just check back in with the commissioners that you approached.
I will.
My question, Kathy, so having a community garden designation would be different and allows you to do, like, what's the difference between having a community garden designation and me just owning a lot? I own it, it's private property. I'm gonna put a shed on it, I'm gonna have a garden on it, like, is the difference then there would be more of a community, like, you're adding the community element being like more people would be there, like people parking on the street, people like coming and going, that kind of thing, and therefore it's subject to a different set of rules?
I don't recall hearing, those are great questions, because that's exactly what I was asking about. I'm like, well, it's an empty lot, they own it, why can't they just do whatever they darn well please? Ha ha, right? Not whatever they please, but
Right.
But apparently, no, that's not the way it works. In Battle Creek, if you haven't, there's a bunch of requirements. If you have a house on the lot, you can do certain things. If you don't have a house on the lot, you can't do certain things. And honestly, I can't really define all of it. I'm still a little bit confused.
Okay.
But if they got a community garden designation, then I could call up Steve's people and say, hey, this community garden needs a 10-yard load of soil. And the city has been very grateful. They probably would do it even without the official designation, because they trust that I'm giving them straight information about it. But I know that I know a shed cannot be, at least my understanding is, I should say, a shed cannot be placed on an empty lot. And you can't really do any structures, or fencing is limited in certain ways. So they were like wanting to put up they want to build some sort of a water collection structure so they don't have to haul water to the site. And that would entail, 4x4s and a roofie kind of a thing, into a rain barrel. And they can't do that unless they have this community garden designation.
I got you. That does make sense to me now, that if there's a vacant lot and you're going to use it for something, now it was vacant, you're going to use it for something, that use has to conform to the
it
plan
doesn't,
that we've
yeah.
all agreed to as a community. And yeah,
it
Gotcha.
doesn't seem outrageous, none of it is like stopping me from, free use of my property, not at all, and I'm not complaining about that, but the whole space, the limitation of the size is the big hiccup. So on this lot, they can't get designation. It's an empty lot. There's no buildings. They can't get designation as a community garden, but they could build a duplex on that lot. So, I mean,
Yeah, so maybe wherever the size limitation came from, maybe it's just an outdated or under, didn't think it all the way through the number that's placed on that, and I
Yeah.
get you.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. All right, good question. Anything else? Questions, announcements?
I was just wondering, maybe I missed it, but I was wondering if Sarah could tell us about how her events have been going so far this year and kind of an update on that. If you, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Sarah, but if you could.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so we are like halfway through our events for the year. And we did have a really big event. That April event was quite large. So we did have like over 700 vehicles go through and like a $42,000 household hazardous waste bill. Which is why a lot of times people ask, why do we not do more of those? But it's pretty typical for one of those to cost about $20,000. So that one was about double normal. But hey, we got that stuff out of people's garages and basements and sheds. So it's not in the water or in the landfill or in the trash or on the side of the road. So that's the cool part. But we did have another, we had a Marshall household hazardous waste collection, and we brought in a lot of appliances and scrap metal when we had that event in Battle Creek. So we're looking pretty good for volumes at events this year. I think we have collected the most appliances and scrap metal that we ever have collected. Our Albion electronics collection was significantly smaller than the Battle Creek one, but you know, we're trying to reach across the county and help people out. We're about to do our second at-home electronics collection. And so the first one, I believe, I'm thinking the first one had the city of Battle Creek or the Battle Creek area people on it. But we do have a lot of openings for that. So that is getting reposted because we have, there's 4 collection dates. And so the 2 later dates in this year, we've reposted it. And so we are still looking for seniors or disabled people who cannot participate when we have an electronics collection, whether they don't have a car or can't load their item or get their item out of their home, that we are able to sign them up through our senior services program here in community development at the county. So we can't take every single electronics that you have, but we would be able to do like computers and printers and TVs. Are the main items that we're picking up. So that is helpful to quite a few people, and hopefully we can get a few more people to participate. And so basically, I think we have 2 scrap tire collections left. The first one had a great turnout in Albion, and so we have Marshall and Teconcha left for the year, and then we have the Marshall Household Hazardous Waste collection in September at the fairgrounds, and then a Battle Creek one at Bailey Park in October. So that will kind of wrap up our events. And right now, we're pretty busy working with both a consultant and the Next Cycle program. I'm trying to develop a concept for a comprehensive recycling drop-off center for the county to see if that's something that we'd be able to sustain both at a budget level and then also a volume level of material coming into the center. So Doug and I are busy here working with consultants and collecting data. So I think I have to ask the city gals a little bit later for some information that the consultant was asking about, but we're working on that, trying to figure out a way that we could build or buy a larger facility that would allow people to go through the recycle center in their vehicles. And so it would be indoors, and that would work better for all weather, you know, like a day like today or in the winter when it's cold and snowy. And we'd be able to do our events at that location. for like household hazardous waste, and but also looking for a center that would let us take things like electronics, vinyl siding, tires and styrofoam, like all those type of items on a regular basis. So maybe not every single day that we're open, but like once a week or at least once a month for some of the items. But we are looking at doing this in a way that we would make it more accessible, and then not have to deal with the heavy event traffic for a big event day like what we had, 700, 800 cars showing up in one 4-hour period, which tends to cause some traffic issues and stuff. So spread it out over a year, but we're working really hard and participating with the Next Cycle program. That should put us in a better position to hopefully be able to get a nice infrastructure grant from Eagle towards building the facility. But we do have a healthy fund balance in the solid waste program. So we do have some good match sitting here that can be used for capital expenses. So building facility, buying equipment, that is something that we are in the position to actually, be able to take advantage of all the grants that are coming up right now. So hopefully we'll have more information wrapping these things up like September, October-ish for the county, and then looking to hopefully pursue getting like real engineering designs and figuring out exactly where we would put the location for the facility. But hoping to try to make it as convenient as possible for all of the residents. So trying to keep it somewhat central in the county, since we do provide like most of the recycling services for the rural residents, especially on the eastern and southern part of the county.
Great. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, good luck with that, Sarah. I hope that can come to fruition. It's a big deal, but I hope it happens.
It is pretty big. And we're also probably starting the new county plans will start in early 2024 too. So we've got a lot to come, but nothing better than encouraging people to recycle and take care of all their hazardous materials correctly. So makes the world a better place to live in.
Yep. Thank you. All right, just a couple of minutes of time left. Anything else? Comments? Well, on the subject of the county, I can just say this is a little bit tangential, but I just want to say that just FYI, I have been communicating off and on with the parks. I don't know what his title is, park director, park superintendent, park whatever. The county Doug Farrell. I spent a lot of time at Ott Preserve, and I've been communicating with him about invasive species of wildlife there. In particular, the mute swans that make their home there. I've been curious about if there's. I know they've been doing some invasive plant mitigation out there, and I've been curious about, well, okay, what about invasive wildlife, animal species, and is there a plan for any? Essentially, no, not yet, but they're in the process of going through their management plans for their park properties. So I was able to submit some public input there. If anybody's curious about that, I can talk more about that offline. It's not exactly our jurisdiction here, but just FYI. Anything else from anyone? All right, then. Well, thank you all very much for your participation. Our next meeting, let me double check. It should be at the end of August, if I'm not mistaken, if we've done our planning correctly. Yeah, on my calendar, it's August 28th. Should be the last Monday in August, the 28th at 1:30. So we will plan to meet then, and I will touch base with Patty before then on agenda items and whatnot. So thank you all, and we'll see you all then. Thanks to Lisa and Jessica for helping out logistically. Thanks to Steve for being here and all the city folks who make everything run. Thank you all. We are adjourned at 2:20.